Just how dangerous is a football? Well, today I'm going to find out.
So there's a few things that I want to do in this video. Number one, I want to put the football up against different items and see how much damage it can really do. Number two, I want to find the most dangerous football that you can buy. And finally, I'm going to investigate why medical experts have been calling footballs extremely dangerous. And this is something that affects everyone who plays it.
But first, I want to find out how much impact force my best strike can actually produce. Now, to work this out, I need to take some measurements. First up, I need to measure my shot speed.
So my hardest strike was 75 miles per hour.
Next, we need to know the weight of the ball. And finally, the duration of impact. Now, when I put all these stats into this formula, we end up with 838 newtons of force, which equates to around 85 kilograms. So imagine all of this weight suddenly on your hands for a split second. That's what it would feel like to save my most powerful shot. That's pretty cool to visualize, and that's enough force to break a finger. But if this is one of my shots, imagine what someone like Haaland could produce. That would be insane. So now we know just how much force a football can produce, but I want to put that to the test for real. I'm going to be taking my hardest shots at different items until we get to one that the football can't break through. And I'm really interested to see just how strong a football can be, so I better get my shooting boots on. For this test, I'll be using a standard size 5 football, and we're going to start off easy and then progress up the levels.
Right, so the first item of the video is the polished styrene. Now, this is the easiest one, so I'm expecting the football to smash through this in one shot. If I can't make it through this, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
So I sprayed a line 5 meters away from the target, and then it was time to shoot.
First level of the video. Let's go. As expected, that went to plan.
So, as we all expected, the polystyrene was destroyed by the football, taking just one shot. So level 1 can be ticked off the list. But now we turn our attention to level 2, where things will get slightly harder for the football. Level 2 is tinfoil. Once again, I'm expecting the football to break through this one on the first shot.
Tinfoil, let's go.
So yeah, level 2 was no match for the football and left the tinfoil looking like this after just 2 shots. So let's get that ticked off. So far so good, but will level 3 be our first test for the football?
Right, next level, we're getting a bit more difficult now. This is cling film, and honestly, there's 2 layers of this. I do not think it's going to be as easy as it looks. Right, cling film. I think I've just got to smash this, really. Yes.
So once again, as expected, the football was easily able to get past level 3. And from this point onwards, it's going to be a lot more challenging for the football. But before we move on to the next level, I wanted to speak to someone who might be able to give us a bit more insight into how dangerous a football can really be. Now, I think we can all agree that the goalkeeper is certainly the most dangerous position in football. And as someone who literally throws themselves in front of a football for a living, Connor O'Keefe is the perfect man to talk to about this topic, as I've got a few really interesting questions that I want the answer to. Does it hurt to save a power shot?
It depends what you save it with. There's a lot of the times if someone really hits it, and if you don't quite get the hand in the right place, it'll bend your fingers or bend your wrists, and that is always sore. If you get it straight in the face, that one's gonna hurt. And then if you get it somewhere else, that's gonna hurt as well. So yeah, power shots, yeah, they can be pretty painful.
What's the most dangerous situation for a goalkeeper?
I think any time that a goalie comes out to smother the ball, so think of like a through ball, strikers running in, defenders running in, and the goalie's coming to smother. The goalie's going with the hands and the face, while as everyone else is going with the boots and the studs. I've had stitches in my face. That one's always tough.
Do you have any special safety equipment?
We've got like padding, obviously, for like elbows, got padding for hips, tape for your fingers as well, and your wrists. That's especially with the footballs when people are starting to really smash it. That can give you a little bit more kind of security and protection.
What's the most dangerous ball?
I think older leather type footballs, if it's cold, if it's wet, like they get really heavy, that always is going to be a little bit more dangerous.
So some really interesting answers from Connor there, and I'll be trying to find the most dangerous football on the market a bit later. And a quick spoiler, it wasn't the 1930s ball. But next up, we're on to level 4 of the impact test, and this is where my shot power is going to have to be turned up a bit.
Right, next level, we're onto the cardboard. This is definitely going to be a bit of a step up. I'm not not sure the ball's going to go straight through, but it should fold it in half. I'm pretty sure the football is strong enough to break through this. It's going to take a few attempts, I reckon, though. Right, first attempt, I'm just going to test. You know what? It's stronger than you think, this. It is surprisingly strong. It's not going to be that easy. All right, let's put a bit more power on it now. Oh! Oh my God.
So the cardboard was putting up a decent fight and taking some really good shots. But it was only a matter of time before the football took the victory.
Yes! Finally, I can't believe it took me that long to break through some cardboard.
So the football managed to split the cardboard in half, and that's level 4 completed. But next up we have quite a big step up to level 5.
Level 5, I would say we've got our first real challenge for the football. This is MDF. Honestly, I'm not that confident the football's going to be able to get through this. I'll give it our best shot, give it our best hits, and we'll see what it does.
So this is our first properly solid object of the video. And for this, I had to make sure the ball was fully pumped up. Let's see how it gets on.
So if I connect with this, I think it's going straight through. This is actually pretty solid. Oh! Till I smash this bit as well. So you know what? The MDF absolutely got destroyed there.
It's honestly surprised me just how easily the football could break through this. But that is level 5 completed. And next up we move to level 6, which if I'm honest, I think will be just as easy for the football. This is a plastic sheet, and I thought plastic was pretty strong, but I'll just let the footage do the talking. So once again, the football absolutely destroyed level 6, and it's about time the football got a proper test. But before we move on to the next level, I want to know, what is the most dangerous football you can buy? Now, this is going to be a lot harder than you think, and this is because of FIFA. As for FIFA to approve a football, it has to pass some pretty strict safety tests. Their regulations state the size of the ball must be between 68 and 70 centimetres. It must weigh between 410 and 450 grams. It must have no hazardous materials, and the ball must bounce over 135 centimetres when dropped onto a hard surface. And to be honest, this list is seemingly endless. Now, whilst choosing a dangerous football, I'm not going to include any gimmick footballs like this. I'm just looking at standard footballs.
Right, so first things first, I need to remove any footballs that have a FIFA logo on, so that can go, these go, that's got a FIFA logo. Surprisingly, the Mitre actually got a FIFA logo. I expected that to be up there for sure.
So after getting rid of any balls that include a FIFA approved logo, as this means they've had to pass some pretty strict safety tests, I was left with just 2 balls, which is pretty insane. Nearly every ball in my collection had been approved by FIFA. I told you this wouldn't be easy. Now for the next factor that would make a ball more dangerous would be having a hard synthetic surface, and both of these remaining balls had pretty much the same material, so they both go through to the final round. And the final factor that would make a ball more dangerous is the weight. A heavier ball will create more impact force. So after weighing both the footballs, this is apparently the most dangerous ball in my collection of about 100.
Right, so according to those tests, this is the most dangerous football I've got. And if I'm honest, that does seem quite hard to believe because there's nothing too crazy about it. I mean, I'll take a few kicks and see what happens.
So realistically, despite these tests, I don't think this ball is any more dangerous than any other football, apart from maybe being slightly harder to see. So I think that this test just proved, perhaps unsurprisingly, that when it comes to footballs, they're all pretty safe. So despite footballs having to pass some pretty strict safety standards, they can still cause some damage, but can the football defeat level 7, which is a TV monitor? Now this is no longer in working condition, but let's see what it looks like once it's faced the football.
TV monitor.
Now, the problem here was that it was a lot harder to hit the target, but it didn't take long before the football started to make an impact.
Mate, this is solid. Oh, there we go. There we go.
And after 10 shots, the TV was definitely defeated. So with every level completed so far, we move on to number 8, where the football will face a wooden fence. Surely it can't break through this.
Definitely the hardest item so far. The MDF was going solid at first, but we managed to smash through that. But this is definitely going to be more difficult. I'm not sure how the football's going to do. I do back it to get through, but I think it's going to take some work. 50%. Oh! Oh, this next one's going. I'm actually really impressed how strong the football is. That fence panel has been destroyed.
So the football absolutely dismantled the fence, which is honestly just insane to see, and so far has definitely been stronger than I expected. But now let's step up to level 9. Now for level 9 we have a car window, which is basically toughened glass. I've smashed glass with a football before and it doesn't end well for the glass, but let's see how a car window gets on. So just one shot to complete level 9, and the football has easily got through every level so far. But what about level 10?
So before we see if our football can smash through our final item, I want to take a look at the biggest threat that the football poses to everyone that plays it.
So as we discovered earlier, the football has to go through many safety checks before we can use it. But there is one thing that medical experts are warning us about, and that is heading. Now, heading the ball is a huge part of the game. The average player will head the ball 4 times per match. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor, but experts have said that repeatedly heading the football can cause long-term effects to our brain. Many academies have banned heading in training, and some people have campaigned to have heading banned from the game entirely, at all levels.
So I'm going to be honest, I've never been a huge fan of heading the football, but removing it from the game entirely would completely change the game as we know it.
So what are your opinions on the dangers of heading a football? Could you really see it being banned entirely? So now we've taken a look at some of the real dangers that the football can pose, let's move on to our final item and see if the ball can break through that. So the final item is a steel sheet. If the football can somehow get through this, then I genuinely will have no words.
Right, metal sheet, let's give it a go. That is not going anywhere. All right, let's give it a bit more power. This stood strong. I've got to admit, this defeated the football.
So the football wasn't able to make it through the steel and finally has been defeated. But now you're aware of the potential dangers that the football can cause, but also the many checks they go through to make the beautiful game as safe as possible.